In the dusty village of Mulabezi, tucked deep in the heart of central Zamunda, folks still whisper about the woman who vanished for a decade and returned wrapped in gold and shadow. Her name was Terasai, but after what happened, the villagers began calling her something else. Something unholy. But let's start with Kutakwash, a humble schoolteacher in Mulabezi, earning just enough to keep bread on the table and firewood in the stove. He wasn't flashy, just a simple man with chalk-stained hands, a sickly mother, and a younger brother who still believed in superheroes. Life was hard, and it didn't look like it was getting any easier. Kuta remembered Terasai from their school days. She was the girl everyone called slow, barely scraped through classes, until she dropped out completely in grade 9 after her mother died. Quiet, awkward, the kind of girl no one expected to become anything, until she vanished. Her mother's family took her in, promised to raise her right. Then she disappeared. 10 whole years. Then one scorching afternoon, during her father's funeral, a car thundered into Mulabezi, shattering the silence like a boom of war drums. It was a silver BMW, polished to the point it could blind a bird mid-flight. Out stepped a goddess. Long red nails, thick perfume that could choke a fly, sunglasses like dark mirrors, and legs that shimmered in the sun like caramel dipped in diamonds. It was Terasai. Only, this wasn't the girl Kuta remembered. This was a woman sculpted from money and mystery. The villagers went feral. Men stumbled over themselves. Women whispered and clutched their husbands tighter. But when her eyes fell on Kuta, plain, broke, chalk-dusted Kuta, she smiled. And he remembered. She used to have a thing for him. And just like that, she was his. At first, it felt like hitting the jackpot. She showered him with gifts, phones, shoes, new clothes. Even slipped money to his mother. She made poverty look like a phase he'd outgrown. They married quickly. He quit teaching. She said they'd start a perfume company together. Why teach kids who'll just become broke adults? Let's build an empire, she'd purr. But soon after the wedding, Kuta noticed strange things. Every month, for one whole week, she changed. She'd avoid his touch like he had leprosy. No cuddles, no kisses, no complaints, just a cold, robotic silence. Her eyes would glaze over, and she'd vanish into a locked room each night with a black plastic bag. He never saw pads. No tampons. No menstrual cramps. Just 1 week a month where she became different. Worse, Kuta began sleeping like the dead. No dreams. No restlessness. Just black, uninterrupted unconsciousness. He would wake up feeling hollow, like his soul had gone somewhere without him. Curiosity clawed at him until it bled. He had to know. One night, he faked a trip to visit his parents. Packed a bag. Kissed her goodbye. Then came back quietly and hid in the spare room, waiting for her monthly ritual to begin. And oh, did it begin. Around midnight, she slithered out of bed like a puppet being tugged by invisible strings. She mumbled to herself, voice rasping like dead leaves in the wind, "Yes, master. I'm coming. I'm ready to serve you." Clutching the same black bag, she entered the locked room. Kuta crept behind her and peeped through a crack in the door. What he saw would rot in his memory forever. Terasai laid a white cloth on the floor, removed every stitch of clothing, and lay down. From between her legs, blood oozed, not like a period, but thick and dark, like something ancient had been woken. And then, from the shadows, it came. A snake. Black. Long. Slithering like oil poured onto polished marble. It crawled straight to her, nestled between her thighs, and began to drink. Yes, drink. Its tongue flicked like a sinner's prayer. She moaned, not in pain, but in pleasure. Kuta couldn't take it. He burst into the room, screaming, trying to chase the creature away. But Terasai's body twisted unnaturally. Her skin shimmered. Scales rippled across her back. And before he could comprehend it, her face split open, and she bit him hard on the arm. She hissed. Literally hissed. Kuta screamed so loud it cracked the windows. He ran, arm bleeding, heart racing, head spinning. As if summoned, a man from next door, Mzee Chuma, a loner always watching from his veranda, grabbed him and drove him straight to a traditional healer in the next village. The healer didn't ask questions. Just stripped him, rubbed strange herbs on the bite, spat into a calabash, and chanted for hours. Kuta passed out. When he woke up, He was alive, but something inside him had shattered. He stayed with the healer for 2 weeks, barely sleeping. When he did sleep, the dreams came, snakes chasing him, Terasai laughing in a room filled with blood, calling him husband of the serpent. The healer warned him, "Go back there, and you won't come back alive." But Kuda had a problem. Everything he owned was in that house. Clothes, documents, even his bank account. Terasai had set it up. She knew all his passwords. He didn't even own his own damn life anymore. So he made one last plan. Go back. Quietly. During the day. Grab what he could. Vanish. But fate laughed. When he arrived, the gate stood wide open. The house was silent. Too silent. Inside, all his belongings were gone. The wardrobe was empty. Just a note sat on the bed. You tried to see what was not meant for your eyes. Now you belong to the master too. Then, she appeared. Standing at the gate. Smiling. But her eyes were empty. Hollow. Possessed. Not a flicker of humanity left. Kuda ran. He ran until his legs gave out. For weeks, he stayed in another village, telling people he had malaria just to avoid questions. But Terasai began calling. Sweet messages. Loving voicemails. But beneath her voice was always a hiss. A whispering tongue promising damnation. Then came the final message. If I can't have you, no one will. That night, a snake visited him. He felt it first. Cold and smooth beneath the sheets. He opened his eyes, and it was there. On his chest. Staring at him with ancient eyes. He couldn't scream. Couldn't move. The world froze. Desperate, Kuda whispered an old prayer his grandmother once taught him. The moment the final word left his lips, the snake vanished into thin air. That was his last warning. He ran again. This time, with the healer's help, he disappeared. New name. New village. New life. He doesn't speak of Terasai anymore, not unless the moon is right and the fire is warm and you promise not to laugh. Because if you do, he'll just smile and say, I married a queen once. But her crown belonged to a serpent.